Hi there, thanks for watching Around and Around. This is Carbon Cycle Day 4. You have a test next class, so we have some quick warm-up questions. You may have done these already with Mr. Bazan or with your substitute teacher. It will not hurt you to think about them again. All right, so a greenhouse gas, what is it? Think and make sure you have an answer. A greenhouse gas is a gas that traps in heat in the atmosphere. And one positive thing about greenhouse gases is that we would freeze without them. The planet would not be able to sustain life. Negative thing is that they are making our Earth too warm. So these are important things to know about our greenhouse gases, and then realize that we've been thinking about how carbon moves around in our ecosystem and also what impact do humans have. Humans are having a big impact and increasing the amount of carbon and carbon dioxide that ends up in our atmosphere, and that is partly what's making our Earth too warm. So we are doing this to ourselves right now. All right, think way back to the beginning of the year, and when we talked about watersheds, think about the states that you know that drain into our Chesapeake Bay. So you think about that. You can pause the video and then see if you've got them all. We have New York, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, and DC. Those all have parts of land that will drain into the Chesapeake Bay when they receive rain or snow or other precipitation. Now think even further back to the word eukaryotic. EU means true. When we have a true eukaryotic, true nucleus cell, it means it's a cell that actually has a nucleus. So that was trying to stretch way back. All right, so you're going to review what we talked about last class, thinking about Earth and carbon being a big old giant game of Tetris. But I'm going to ask you to pause the video and watch this using the link in Schoology because my video was not recording sound properly. So please do that. And then I want you to just think, what is a greenhouse gas? Remember, greenhouse gases are gases that trap the heat in our atmosphere. They act like a blanket on the Earth. And so they trap the warm air. And otherwise, sometimes energy from the sun is going to actually reflect back out. And that's also, we don't want all of the energy from the sun on us. It's too much, but we do need some. All right, so why do we need some? Because without greenhouse gases, the Earth would be too cold for life. So it's good that we have greenhouse gases, and normal amounts of greenhouse gas are a positive thing. It's just that we currently are having too many greenhouse gases, and so our Earth is getting too warm. So the negatives of having too many greenhouse gases, it's harmful. It makes that Earth too warm. There's too much heat. It's leading to global warming. I'm going to back up, which is causing some of our polar ice caps to melt. We have an increased number of forest fires. We have more extreme weather. We have some drought and some other effects as well. So we're going to click on. Today, you're going to think about how you personally impact the environment when you make your daily choices. So this is one of our Portrait of a Graduate attributes for global and ethical citizen. And so we're going to be global and ethical citizens and think about how we affect the amount of carbon dioxide going into the atmosphere. So we're going to pretend like we are people on the United Nations Climate Change Committee and think about how we might be able to make changes ourselves. All right, so remember, 10 gigatons of carbon is a huge amount of carbon. It really is. And that is the difference. Right now, we have 10 more gigatons being released into the atmosphere than we have being pulled back out of the atmosphere. So we need to stabilize. That means the entire world has to work together to try to decrease our carbon emissions by 10 gigatons per year. And it will take the entire world to make that happen. Okay, so what is being done to help? You're going to watch a video. And you're going to watch a video that's getting to zero emissions, the path to zero emissions. And so I will tell you, it's talking about net zero, this term net zero up here. So we know there's going to be carbon going into the atmosphere. What we want to have is that difference between the carbon going into the atmosphere and the carbon coming out of the atmosphere. We want the difference to be zero. We want it to be net zero. So overall, not too much carbon going into the atmosphere. So please pause this video, watch your link that's in Schoology so you can watch this video, and then come back to me. And so there are many different ways to reach that 10 gigaton number. Okay, you're going to actually do an activity in a moment. You're going to figure out your own personal carbon footprint, and that's going to help you figure out ways that we as humans might reduce our carbon footprint and might reduce the amount of carbon we are releasing into the atmosphere. But just a quick reminder, since you're not going to come back to the video after you do your carbon footprint, you do have a test next class. It's going to cover carbon cycle, but it's also going to have a couple questions on photosynthesis and cellular respiration, so make sure you look back at those notes and those exit tickets. We have our 4 spheres: biosphere, geosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere. You want to think about the forms that carbon takes. We can have carbon in carbon dioxide in gas. We can have carbon in glucose, which is solid also. And so we can have carbon that's in living things and carbon that is in abiotic or non-living things. Processes that move carbon from one place to another involve things like photosynthesis or cellular respiration. And combustion, right? Burning fossil fuels is going to release carbon. Consumption, all that stuff. So remember that humans have a big impact on where carbon is, which carbon pools have the most carbon. And we also want to remember that humans have a big impact and we are causing some climate change and some global warming. Great. Okay, so the last thing that you're going to see on this video is that you're going to be doing some activities to see how large your carbon footprint is. So I want you to go into today's folder in Schoology. Today's folder is blue. And you're going to do the slides that are carbon footprint slides. Then I want you to think, what stood out to you? What stands out to you about your personal carbon footprint? It's probably going to be a big wow moment. So again, you need to do this carbon footprint assignment that's in Schoology. You need to do your formative practice test. It's 20 questions, so hopefully you can start that in class and then finish it for homework. Absolutely get that done before you take the test. It doesn't make sense to do that after you take the test. If you can't find it using the link that I put in Schoology, go straight to formative and see if you can find it in there. If you can't find it in there, email me or ask Mr. Bazan if you happen to be in a class with Mr. Bazan. Email me definitely, because you are responsible for this practice test, even if you can't find it. It will be open. It might just be that you are 2 or 3 minutes early when you are trying to do it. All right, and then when you have your test next class, it's going to be in Schoology. Your test is going to be in Schoology. Okay, so your practice test is informative, your real test is going to be in Schoology, and you'll do some more review at the beginning of next class, and you'll take the test at the end of next class. All right, definitely email me if you have questions.